What's up, guys? Welcome to Whiskey. My name is Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below. With that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today, we're looking at the Talisker 18. Stick around. Alright, so we're looking at another 18-year-old today. This one is the Talisker. Now, I'm putting together a list, like a ranking video of all the 18-year-olds I have, and that'll be an undertaking because I've got quite a few. So before I do that, I'm trying to get through each one in an individual review. And this one just had to be put towards the front of the list. It's a big one, it's a popular one, it's a big hit with reviewers and YouTubers and bloggers and vloggers and loggers and joggers. Everyone likes this one, and speaking personally, I'm a huge fan of Talisker. I'm a huge fan of their house style, so I was excited to take a look at this one. So this one is bourbon and sherry matured, and the elephant in the room with this one is that it has gone up in price pretty dramatically over the last year or so. Now, of course, most whiskey has gone up in price. Most whiskey with an age statement has gone up in price dramatically over the last year, but some have definitely gone up more than others, and this one went up a lot. It does seem like Talisker is trying to premiumize their age-stated stuff these days, and of course, Talisker is owned by Diageo. Definitely not the first time Diageo has done something like this. They did it not too long ago with Lagavulin 16, more recently with Oban 14. Both of those whiskeys just shot up in price, and that's a shame. Both of them, as far as I'm concerned, have reached the point of no return price-wise, where I'm not willing to spend the money on them anymore, and I wouldn't recommend that you guys do either. I mean, Diageo, man, they have gotten really bold with their pricing ambitions this year. Very bold indeed. And unfortunately, that does seem to be the case with our Talisker 18 here. That's something we're going to be discussing a little bit later when we touch on value. And, you know, you guys know me. I might be a generous scorer, but I don't hold back when it comes to criticizing something. Just ask Bunnahabhain. But yeah, it's definitely a shame. This one was such a big hit with people, and it's really expensive now. For the record, the bottle I have here I bought last year at last year's price point. It's since shot up, and I guess the big question that we'll be discussing later is, would I buy it again at the current price point? We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to value, but here's a little hint. Fuck no. Anyway, I've got the old bottle here with the older labeling. The newer label looks like this. And I remember a lot of people were panicking when they released these new labels, I think like last year, 2 years back, whatever, because the 18 wasn't presented with the line when they first released them. And a lot of people thought it was discontinued. Obviously, they have put it out since. It's not discontinued. Although I can't comment on whether or not the formula changed. I know that when they brought out the new 10, there was a bit of a change in the formula there. I don't know if that happened to the 18 as well, so I can't really comment. But yeah, anyway, let's just jump into our review of this one, see what it's all about. And in the meantime, if you could kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. So we have the typical Talisker ABV of 45.8%. That always gets a check from me. It is going to be chill filtered. It is going to be colored. And here's the thing. I don't like it, but I'm willing to understand it or accept it when it's an entry-level whiskey, when it's like a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, whatever. You know, these are cheaper whiskeys, so they're going to have broader appeal. And it's assumed that the casual consumer cares a lot about the color of their whiskey. They want darker whiskeys. They care a lot about clouding in their whiskey. I don't know how true that is, but that's definitely the prevailing wisdom from within the industry. But for a product like this, that is an aged product, it's a premium product, it's expensive, why are they not giving us natural presentation here? As they say here in Taiwan, no bueno. My Chinese isn't great. So we have our fake tan color there. For the label, I definitely do prefer the older look, this look, to the newer one that they gave. I don't think it suits the whiskey quite as much. I think this one is a little bit more in line with what Talisker 18 should be. It feels more premium, it's more restrained, it's more traditional, it's not quite as stylized. I really like the gold accents here. It's a great look. I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5. No details about chill filtration, of course. Our bottle here does say mid-Farbstoff, so we know it's colored. No mention of the casks at all. It does talk about the 5 stills that they have at Talisker. It does mention the worm tub, so at least there's that. And our little marketing blurb on the front here says that it is a richly flavored maritime malt with a warming afterglow. And I gotta say, my favorite part about that little morsel of marketing is definitely the word afterglow. Great stuff. Like, why would you ever use the word finish when you can say afterglow? So lyrical, so poetic. So I didn't add water. Let's try our nose. All right, it's Talisker, but it's not as loud or as intense as the 10-year-old. This is more mature. So it's like calmer, it's softer, it's more sophisticated. So we get citrus, we get vanilla. It's definitely coastal. We have like salt, we have sea air in here. We've got minerals in here, we've got peat, but the peat is going to be less forward, which of course happens with age. There's also stuff like toffee. There's red fruit from the sherry, hints of red fruit from the sherry, and some gentle oak spice. Really nice nose. And now the palate. Gentle smoke, vanilla and honey, but very rounded. Salted caramel. We do get a lot of oak in here. It's a gentle oak, but it's very present, if that makes sense. We also have sea air in here. In fact, there's a lot of very Talisker notes that you're going to get from this, but a lot of the loud ruggedness is toned down. This one has more subtlety. It's got more nuance, more layers. Of course, again, our peat, less forward. It's really nice. And now the afterglow. Okay. Again, keeping that gentle theme going. Definitely minerals and pepper, which for me is kind of like Talisker's claim to fame. Oak spice, sparkling water, honey, sticky toffee. We also have vanilla pudding in here with like that dark sauce that they pour on top. This is soft, it's rounded, it's luxurious. It's a medium finish. Sorry, medium afterglow. So we've got some really rounded and beautiful whiskey here. This is fantastic. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite Taliskers. Now, I've never had really old Talisker. I've never had like the 25, 30, there's like 40 plus year olds out now. I've never had any of those. This is the oldest Talisker I've had, and it is so far my favorite from the brand. Incredible stuff. This is a sophisticated whiskey. I think it's a gentleman's dram. It's Talisker all grown up. And it is recognizable. Like, it's still very Talisker. It's got a lot of the flavors and the house style that you'll recognize from the 10. And of course, that's a good thing. I love Talisker 10. And for me, that's the baseline. It's the high standard of quality to which I compare the rest of the Talisker line. Of course, being older, it is rounder. It's more layered. Our peat is toned down. Meanwhile, the mineral notes are just as forward as they are in any other Talisker, and that's a good thing. But with that softer peat, it does allow more space for some of the more peripheral notes to really shine. Of course, we have like our vanilla pudding and our pepper and our minerals and our caramel, all that fun stuff. Another really nice thing about this whiskey is the oak and the wood spice. Great balance to them. This is an oaky whiskey, but it's not too oaky. It's not too forward. We have some gentle oak spice worked in here. Our wood flavors are there. They're strong enough to suggest the age, but they don't overwhelm any of the other flavors, and they come in a very balanced way. So fantastic wood complement to this. But honestly, beyond the detailed breakdown where I talk about like notes and balance and flavors and all that, this is just a really good Talisker. Like, this is what I would want an aged Talisker to be. Fantastic whiskey. We have the house style. It's an iconic house style with like limestone and minerals and sparkling water and gentle peat and pepper. It's all still in there, but it's presented in a more sophisticated way. Honestly, this whole review is just going to be me complimenting this bottle. Like, I have no criticisms here. I love this stuff. In my opinion, this is one of the best 18-year-olds out there today. It's not the best, but it is among them, especially if you're a Talisker fan. And I'm sure a lot of you are. You did click on this video. I'm going to score this a full 92 points. It's such a beautiful whiskey, and it's luxurious. And luxurious is not something I usually use to discuss whiskey. That's not like a term I use too often. But luxurious is a thing. And of course, this is all subjective, but some whiskeys just taste expensive. They taste like money. Talisker 18 tastes expensive. What else? Glenmorangie Signet tastes expensive. Even stuff that isn't necessarily very expensive. A good example would be Glenlivet 18, the old one at 43%. Relatively affordable as an 18-year-old, tasted expensive. Again, that's obviously all subjective, but come on, who doesn't enjoy things that feel luxurious? The problem there is that simply tasting luxurious, tasting expensive, shouldn't be used as an excuse to overcharge for the whiskey. Now, I'm very happy with this whiskey because I bought it at last year's prices. Of course, nowadays, things have changed. So let's talk about value. Yeah, so as far as value is concerned, this one is a big no. And I don't usually go into like the specifics of prices because markets are always different, but I am going to here. This costs £175 on the whiskey exchange. So with today's current exchange rates, that works out to over 210 US. That's over 205 euros. That's almost 275 Canadian. It's absurd. Now, you can probably still find it for cheaper, but right now on places like Master of Malt, the Whiskey Exchange, that's about what it's going for, and that's a good gauge of where the market is headed. And as luxurious and delicious as this whiskey is, I don't think it's worth the money anymore. Again, Diageo keeps doing this. They've done it to my beloved Oban 14. They did it to Lagavulin 16. And now with our Talisker 18, we have another fantastic whiskey, which is just too expensive. So if value is an important factor to you, I wouldn't recommend this one. And I do realize that prices are going up in terms of production costs, transportation costs, and I understand that some brands are going to have to charge a little bit more for their whiskeys these days. It's not great, but it's a reality. But I also think that there are plenty of brands out there that are piggybacking on that excuse in order to overcharge far beyond what's needed, and I think that might be the case here. This whiskey's too expensive these days. Alright, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron. Otherwise, you can like, comment, and subscribe. That is always appreciated. I do want to hear from you. Have you tried Talisker 18? Did you try the old one? Did you try the new one? How much did you pay for it? Was it worth it? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, in the comments, you can let me know what you want to see me review next, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.